everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk. My name is John, and today here on the channel, we're going to be talking about 1984's Paris, Texas, and its Criterion Blu Ray. So Paris, Texas was released in 1984. It was directed by Wim Wenders, a German director, and he made one of the most beautiful looking Americana films of all time. One of the best road movies and one of my top 10 favorite films ever. I absolutely love Paris, Texas, and I have a really funny story about this one because I would have never even seen this movie. But if you guys remember back when the Xbox Series X was coming out, how hard it was to pre-order, and I was trying to pre-order one from Best Buy, my card kept getting declined, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with my card, so I decided, okay, well, let me try and buy something else. And I had heard about Paris, Texas, mainly on a bunch of movie lists, people recommending this movie as one of the most underrated films of the 1980s. And I loved the cover of the Criterion Blu Ray. I had just really gotten into collecting Criterion films. So I was like, all right, well, worst case, if this gets declined, it gets declined. If not, I get to keep the Blu Ray. So I ordered it. And you know what? Went through, got sent to my house, and I was like, okay, let me check this one out. And I absolutely love this movie. This is only a few years ago. I think, 2020? And I've already seen this movie 4 times since then, and I just love it every single time. Not many movies just make you feel like this, that really just explore what it's like to be a human, a real human being. That's what they captured. This is a very American movie and made by a German director, funding from Germany and France. It's not even funded by America. This is a Palme d'Or winner at the Cannes Film Festival. You know, this is not that kind of movie. It's really exploring American life in the 1980s, and a lot of people were against him doing this because it's Ronald Reagan's America, and that was really not popular worldwide at the time, but he wanted to explore that, and he got really fascinated with Texas. All this is shot on locations in Texas around Corpus Christi, and it shows on screen because the beauty of this movie is incredible. And it's Harry Dean Stanton starring in it as a character named Travis. At the very beginning of this movie, you know, he's kind of just wandering around, and he falls, collapses, and they call up his brother, played by Dean Stockwell, and easily his best performance. I mean, Dean Stockwell himself plays a secondary character in this movie as Travis's brother. Travis, he's doing all the heavy lifting, played by Harry Dean Stanton, but Dean Stockwell's character is so warming, so loving, so caring. I mean, this whole time, Travis has been gone. Dean Stockwell and his wife haven't heard from him in years, about 4 years. They've been raising his son, Hunter, because Harry Dean Stanton and his wife at the time, Jane, who were the parents to Hunter, they just disappeared. They don't know what happened. He went one way, she went another way. Jane has been actually communicating with Dean Stockwell's wife. She's been giving him money, helping to take care of him, but she doesn't have any part of his life. All she does is just wire money to them, and that's it. She doesn't have anything to do with Hunter, anything to do with Harry Dean Stanton, nothing. She's just out in the world, and nobody knows where she is. And now that Harry Dean Stanton has come back, and, you know, he's trying to, like, get his footing back. It's really dealing with a man who's basically suffering from like amnesia, or self-inflicted amnesia, because he doesn't want to face the reality of the world. And that's what I mean about this movie. It's such a deep character study of a man dealing with is probably just somebody who went through a really extreme mental break.
We sort of gave up on you. We actually we thought you were dead, boy.
And just can't deal with the real life. And he's having a hard time. He knows he shouldn't be a parent, but now that he's kind of rekindled this relationship with his son Hunter and with his brother Dean Stockwell, now he feels like he needs to go and find Jane, played in this movie by Natasha Kinski. So Hunter and Harry Dean Stanton, they embark on a road trip to find her. And, you know, it creates conflict between Dean Stockwell and his wife and Harry Dean Stanton, because all this time that he's been gone, they've been raising Hunter as their own son, and they've grown a connection to him. But Dean Stockwell knows that that's his brother, and that's his son, and that's Jane's son. And at the end of the day, that's all there is to it.
Travis is his father, and Hunter is his son.
And even if we love Hunter, that's his family. And I just love these true real-life aspects of this movie that they're exploring. It doesn't get over-dramatized. It feels just so real. The movie looks so beautiful thanks to the cinematography. Everything feels like 1980s America. You know, my favorite film of all time is The Terminator. Came out the very same year. And that's, you know, over-exaggerated. Obviously, we're dealing with a cyborg coming back in time and killing. This feels like what real life 1984 would feel like for real American people working, struggling, the struggle that they have to suffer through their day in and day out lives, dealing with, you know, addiction and just being in an unhappy marriage and love just crumbling. And all that is explored so well in this movie, leading up to a fantastic scene. One of my favorite scenes, if not my favorite scene of all time, in the very third act of this movie, dealing with a two-way mirror where Harry Dean Stanton's character is on one side and then Jane, played by Natasha Kinski, is on the other side, and basically him just telling the entire story of their relationship. It goes on for probably about 10 minutes. I didn't put a stopwatch on, but I'm telling you, I cry every single time. Harry Dean Stanton proved that he is one of the best actors, most underrated actors ever in this one scene.
Anyway, he started to drink real bad, and he'd stay out late to test her.
Him and Natasha Kinski are putting on a clinic. The camera doesn't have to move around a lot, but the cinematography is so beautiful that, you're getting reflections in this two-way mirror, seeing their emotions. They're showing us exactly what we need to see, and the story he's telling is so beautiful and captivating, and again, feels so real. I get chills thinking about it when I'm not watching the movie. It's just that damn good. And it's just the subject matter that they're exploring is something that many movies, even to this day, don't tackle, but they were tackling this in the 1980s. Just dealing with lost love and what it's like to be in a relationship, how it starts off so well, and then the real life stuff just gets involved, and it just starts taking little bits and pieces away from that relationship till you finally just can't take it no more. It's also really exploring mental illness, like in Harry Dean Stanton's character, and that's something that they didn't really tackle in the 1980s. They never directly say it, but clearly from the way this character is portrayed from the beginning of the movie to the end, that he is dealing with more than just loneliness. There's definitely more to that character that they don't actually directly say. You really have to do the legwork on that. But just seeing a man who's disappeared off the face of the earth for 4 years, and at the very beginning of this movie is basically a mutant, has had a hard time even remembering what the hell happened. Something is going on up there, and I really love that they explore that in this movie. It's something that movies from the 1980s just don't do, and I always just find it fascinating that a German director ended up making one of the best American films of all time, and this movie, again, is one that I highly, highly recommend. One of my top 10 favorite films of all time. I know it's very underseen. This movie had a $1.8 million budget, only made $2.2 million, but a lot of famous people have said that this is their favorite film ever, one of those being Kurt Cobain, which actually doesn't surprise me. This definitely feels like a movie because it's dealing a lot with your internal emotions and how you feel, and then actually letting that stuff come out. You don't see that in a lot of movies. A lot of those emotions get compartmentalized, just kept internal. We never get to see that fully explored on the screen, and Kurt Cobain, what he was talking about in the early 90s, that makes all the sense in the world that he would love this movie, and it's a movie I highly recommend no matter which way you see it. Don't sleep on this movie for the first 28 years of your life like I did. It's one you should definitely check out right away no matter which way you check it out, but if you do want to check it out on this Criterion Blu Ray, that's what we're going to talk about right now. But first, before we do that, if you are a fan of movie reviews, 4K Blu Ray reviews, lists, podcasts, and shorts, we try and do them all here on the channel. Nothing helps this channel out more than by just simply liking this video and subscribing to the channel. So like I said earlier, I grabbed this Blu-ray only a few years ago. It was originally released back in 2010. It's number 501 from the Criterion collection. It's one I hope really gets a 4K upgrade because it deserves it. But like I said, this movie was very underseen. I don't think it's that well known. It's well known maybe through some film circles, but it's not the most well known film. It's one that I was lucky that I stumbled upon it, because until I heard about it on a list, I had never even heard of this film. I never really was aware of what Wim Wenders was doing, but I'm so happy that I did. So I grabbed the Criterion Blu-ray, and like I said, this poster on the front of it really is what drew me into it. I thought it was just a very nice looking artwork. You capture that Texas feel, that like desert sandy look, and they captured it right here on the poster. But the rest of the movie also takes place in areas like Los Angeles. It's traveling along the roads. They kind of shoot it like a Western, so like we're moving left to right like as if it was a horse, but it's just a car, which is funny because it's really exploring America. So if you shoot it like a Western, which are very American films, it makes all the sense in the world, and that's why the cinematography is so beautiful in this movie, and it lends itself so well to this Criterion Blu-ray. A 4K would be outstanding for this. There's so much beautiful lighting in this movie. They use like this green lighting. I don't know if that's something that was going on in the 1980s, where they had like green lighting a lot of areas down in Texas, like instead of using like a yellow light or a white light like a lot of gas stations or diners like that. I'm just not sure because I wasn't around in the 1980s, but the aesthetic works so well in this film, and it just pops off the screen, just looks just downright beautiful. Some of the most beautifully shot scenes ever. Such unique locations, like down in Houston, or there's a scene, I'm not going to spoil the scene any more than this, but it's basically a peep show, but all the stuff in that is just popping off your screen with all the colors. But because this is a Blu-ray and not a 4K, it does suffer from some grain issues, but nothing too dramatic or over the top. It's actually very steady throughout. There were some areas on one of my players that I tested it on where it kind of started to, like, the grain started to overwhelm some of the deep blacks, but on my other 4K player, it didn't have that issue, so it could be the player. Maybe it doesn't upscale as well as the other one, but it was a little unstable at points. But for an older Blu-ray, completely understandable. This is something that I think would definitely translate very well to the 4K. And actually, surprisingly, the audio track on here is an English DTS HD 5.1, and it really does make great use of that. It's probably a little unnecessary, given the score to this movie is great, but it's all done just basically on one guitar, like a sliding guitar. And yes, it does help to move the emotions very much along. And that's what I was saying earlier about it feeling kind of like a Western. And that guitar really helps to push that theme along. It does just sound great on this Blu-ray. I was very surprised with how clear and crisp the Blu-ray was. The audio, which is it's a dialogue-heavy film. So, of course, that stuff is the most important aspect of it, is we want to hear those conversations crisp and clear. We don't want to have anything get overwhelmed, no pops or clicks. None of that is here. It is a great DTS HD 5.1. I'm actually surprised that's even what it got. I would have expected like a 2.0 mono track. So really, that was very, very impressive. And as far as the extras go, this is a Criterion Blu-ray, so you expect a lot, but really, it's not too much. You just get a bunch of interviews, a couple deleted scenes, a gallery, trailers, nothing too special because it is a one disc set, which I'll show you guys right now. Again, good artwork. You go inside, you get plenty of paperwork, which I absolutely love. This is a very thick book, good paper stock, you know, like for an older Blu-ray. Very good stuff here. Interior artwork, one disc, all of it is just fantastic. I was very, very happy with this purchase. It's usually going, I think, new right now for about 23 bucks if I'm correct, which really isn't bad given, you know, it's an older Criterion Blu-ray, but for one of the Criterion sales where you can get that for even cheaper, it's 100% worth it. It's not something that's going to blow you away visually or audio-wise, just in comparison to what we're getting with modern-day 4Ks, but if the Criterion Collection ever decides to bring this to 4K, I am 100% behind it. I will champion the hell out of that, because this is a movie that needs to be seen in the highest of quality, and if this is our definitive edition going forward, it's still definitely worth it, because the film itself is a 10 out of 10. I think it's one of the greatest films ever made. This is one that will be in my permanent rotation. It's already in my top 10 films of all time, just because of the emotions that it drags out of me. It's just such a beautiful film. I really cannot recommend this film any higher than I already have. If you guys trust my opinion on movies, I promise you this is one you are going to absolutely love. You have to see Harry Dean Stanton do an amazing job acting in this movie. Such an underrated actor. He really got his big break in 1984 with this and Repo Man, but he just carries the hell out of this movie. What an amazing performance. So if you're going to grab this Criterion Blu-ray, I would give the entire package a really solid 8 out of 10. The movie itself, even if you can't watch it in this Criterion Blu-ray, I say just watch it any which way you can, and I promise you, you are going to absolutely love it. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and after you're done doing all of that, why don't you guys head down to West Texas and tell all of your friends there about us, and we'll be seeing you around.